Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this Bam Adebayo build on NBA 2K24. Now, if you guys haven't noticed, Bam is actually playing really well this season. He's averaging a 20-point double-double, and he's still getting about a block and a half per game. We know how Bam is. He can pretty much guard 1 through 5. He's a versatile defender, and I felt like I finally had to make a build for him, especially since he is carrying this Miami Heat team right now, which is my favorite team, by the way. So with all of that out of the way, man, let's get started with today's video. Let's go. All right, so when it comes to making this build, we're going to be making it at the center position, height 6'9", weight 233 pounds with a 7'7" wingspan. All right, so now starting things off in the finishing, we're going to have a 77 close shot, which is going to get a silver fearless finisher as well as silver masher, an 80 driving layup so we could get pro touch on Hall of Fame with this build, a 75 driving dunk, which is actually going to let us unlock a bunch of really great dunk animations, which include your athletic one-handers off one. Then moving on to the standing dunk, we're going to have an 81, which is going to get us rise up on silver. Now, although we are not 6'10" and we cannot get the big man contact dunks, an 81 standing dunk is still very nice on a 6'9" because you still get a lot of really great standing dunk packages. And then moving on to the post control, we're going to have an 81, which is going to get us post spin technician on gold, which is very nice to have on this type of build. All right, so let's take a look at the finishing clips right here. Cut to the basket. My teammates actually throwing me a lob there. We actually finished that pretty freaking well. Gonna dot the AI here, run up court, pretty much just run past everybody and go up with a standing dunk. And like I said, man, you can get good standing dunk animations on this build. Now here's a big underrated thing with this build, the layup. The 80 driving layup is super nice this year, especially since layup timing is good this year and floaters are really good this year. All right, so now moving on to the shooting, we're going to have an 82 mid-range shot so we can get catch and shoot on gold. And we're also going to be a pretty good scorer in the mid-range area since we also get post fade phenom on gold with that high post control. And then when it comes to the three-point shot, we're going with a 65, which I believe gets us corner specialist on bronze. Now listen, 65-3 sounds very low, and for Bam, it makes sense. He's not a great three-point shooter, but I promise you, you can knock down catch and shoot shots with a 65 three-pointer, as you guys have actually seen on the channel previously with my Hakeem build. But enough talk, let's get to the actual shooting highlights. Right here, we're taking the ball into the post. He's giving me the wide open fade, so I'm just gonna take it. Now we all know that 82 midi is going to be perfectly fine. You're gonna get midi position on silver, catch and shoot on gold. You're gonna be fine in the mid-range area right here. Take a couple dribbles, fade in the mid-range area, and it goes in without any issue. Now right here, I don't know why I'm getting left open because I was already shooting good from 3 on this build. As you saw at the top right hand of the screen, I was shooting 75% from 3 on this build. But when you do have the ball in your hands, the mid-range game is going to be your best friend on this build. Now look at this, bro. That was a 7. I don't understand how that was a 7% contest, but we're just gonna rock with it right here. Wide open, catch and shoot in the corner. Come on, we're banging that, shooting 100% from 3. But they didn't see enough. Right here, wide open again, catch and shoot at the corner, 100% from 3. We just can't miss. Wide open in the corner again, catch and shoot. Bang. We don't miss with a 65-3 somehow. And like I said, you're going to be deadly in the mid-range area, especially when you have that 82 midi. Now right here, out the post, hit it with the post fade. Nobody's guarding it. Nobody's guarding it. It's wide open, goes in without an issue. Again, gadget shoots, knock those down without any issue. All right, now take a look at this right here. Getting left wide open again, doesn't matter. Then we're just going to walk into the mid-range area, shoot the midi instead of the 3 since we have that high midi. But you know what? Very next possession, I said, you know what? Screw it. We're shooting another 3-pointer. Now we're shooting 67% from 3. And actually, the funny thing is for today's video and all the clips you just saw on that build, we were actually using Bam Adebayo's custom jump shot. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was relatively quick. That B release speed doesn't really tell the full story, and it had a pretty good visual cue as to when you let go of the jumper. So honestly, it wasn't too bad. I'm not saying you should use his just straight up jump shot, but from what I used, it was not terrible and it was pretty good. And I would like to mention again, it is actually a lot easier to shoot with the 65-3 on this build than you're going to expect because you do get some really good shooting badges because of your midi. All right, so now for the playmaking, we're going to have a 75 pass accuracy, which is going to get us break starter on silver, which is a very good passing badge to have, especially when you're playing as a big and you're going to be throwing the fast break. And when it comes to the ball handle and speed with ball, we're going to go with 40 in both categories so we can unlock all of the normal dribble sigs, which include the hesitation, the dribble style, and pretty much every other animation. Now the playmaking on this build is actually going to be pretty freaking good, especially when you're trying to move out of the post. That's when people are going to drop and try and help. So you're going to be able to dot your open shooters out of the post, or if somebody for some reason sent you a screen and they slip, you'll have them open as well. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was definitely throwing some dots when I was on this build, dotting centers wide open, and luckily for me, when I was playing on this build that doesn't have a super great 3-pointer, I got paired with a lot of people that were stretch bigs, which was a very good thing to be able to have because this type of build with another non-shooting big is just not a great combo. But take a look at this play right here, getting the ball in the post on the baseline, getting double, looking for an open shooter. We dot the AI on the opposite wing, and he cashes that shot. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty clean pass for only a 75. Now taking a look at the breaks right here, that silver break starter is going to get the job done. You don't have an 86 pass accuracy, you don't have 90 plus, but that 75 is going to get the job done, and it is serviceable, okay? And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Bam in real life is pretty underrated as a passing big. He's usually pretty much like the core of like the Miami offense when he's kind of just floating around in the mid-range area, either doing a two-man game with Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. He's also really good at finding cutters going to the basket since he can space the floor a little bit being in that mid-range area. He'll hit like Jimmy on cuts and other players on cuts, and he's just really big part of our offense. But now let's talk about the defense on this build, and this is what Bam is known most for, is his insane defense, his versatility on defense, and we tried to replicate that as much as possible. And for interior defense, we gave him an 88, which is going to get him post-move lockdown on gold, and then he's also going to be fantastic out on the perimeter because he has an 85 perimeter defense, which will get him clamps on silver, a 60 steal just to get bronze interceptor so he can get in those passing lanes, and then a 78 block to get bronze anchor as well as silver chase down artist. Now Bam is a really good paint defender, do not get that wrong, but he is not super great when it comes to blocking shots. He does get blocks for sure, and especially this year that has trended upwards way more than the past few years, but he's usually known for being a really good defender and not just a rim protector like somebody like Jaren Jackson. Then moving on to the rebounding, we're going to go with an 85 to get silver rebound chaser as well as gold box out beast and a 60 offensive rebound. But now let's take a look at the defensive highlights on this build, and listen, man, like I said, you have a 78 block on this build, but that's going to be enough, man. You're going to be able to get plenty of stops on this build with that 78 block and get a pretty decent amount of chase downs as well. Now, one thing I did not get to mention just yet because we haven't talked about the physicals on this build, we also do get gold immovable enforcer on this build, but from the gameplay, I did not have it on gold. I only have it on silver, and again, look at this right here. This was me guarding a 7'1" like Wemby type build, and I was just getting stops on him like crazy. So to the people that are going to see this 6'9" center and say, oh, my 7-foot center inside is gonna mash and to dominate him and destroy him, look at this. I'm getting reds every single play with bronze anchor and 88 interior, and I'm not gonna be easy to back down there either because again, like I mentioned earlier, I have a 90 strength on this build. So from a versatility standpoint with this build, I pretty much feel like I can guard 1 through 5 or pretty much just anybody whoever I run into when I'm playing rec. But yeah, no, man, the build is crazy on defense. But now let's take a look at the build fully maxed out. And again, let me mention the physicals really quickly. 75 speed, 65 acceleration. We're going to get that 90 strength, which is going to get us gold immovable enforcer as well as gold brick wall, which is very important to have on a Bam build because he is a screen setter and all of his screens are illegal. I don't want to hear anybody say he sets illegal screens. Anyways, moving on to the vertical, we're going to have a 74. We could have gotten that vertical up higher if we wanted to, but our attributes were just stretched so thin on this build. It was hard to get any leftover points to pretty much do anything on this build. Now, one quick disclaimer with this build, I ended up making this intentionally to try and replicate Bam Adebayo as much as possible. So I'm not going to go out of my way and say this is a good build. I'm not going to go out of my way and say that I recommend that you should make this build if you want a meta center build. But if you want to build that's just like Bam, I think this is going to be your best bet. And now coming out of the My Player Builder, you're going to get the player comparisons of Nicholas Claxton, Bam Adebayo, and Alonzo Mourning. And you're going to get the build name Two-Way Mid-Range Threat, which I think is a super tough name, especially for a Bam build. That's going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below what other NBA players you want me to do, especially ones that have been playing really well. I might do a Tyrese Maxey video because he's been hooping, but that's it. I'm out. Peace.